live. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for coming to my page today. My name is Gifty, founder of Baller Mom over there. And today I have another special feature guest that I will be having an open conversation with her for her to tell her journey as a student athlete and now as a coach, as a mentor, and how she is helping all of us and our student athlete to be able to continue their journey in everything that they do. So allow me to send her a request to have her join us and to everybody's, and hopefully everybody's having a good October so far. For us here in Canada, we just had our long Thanksgiving. So hopefully for those who celebrated, had a really good Thanksgiving. And here she is, Atlanta. How are you, Coach? Can you hear me?
Hello, hello, hello.
Good
Yes, I can
evening.
hear you
Good,
good.
good,
Thank you.
good. Yes. Finally. Okay, yes. Welcome to IG. I know you don't like, you're not often on there and everything, but it's great to have you so people can put a face to you and get to know you and see all the great things that you're continuing to do, especially in the sports community. So, without any further ado, introduce yourself. Who is Coach Alana Loss?
Okay, thank you so much. I do want to just let you guys know that where I am, it's actually at a gym. So if you hear some basketballs or anything like that, kids, please be understanding. Okay, so my name's Alana. Who's Alana? Alana is a player, basketball player slash trainer. Somebody who does consultant, mentorship, basketball performance training, fitness performance training, and just somebody
Wow,
who's big on those things.
nice.
And
And
the
where
founder,
are you?
sorry,
Sorry, what was it?
and like you see on my shirt, Alana Laws is founder of Concrete Connection, and that's pretty much one of the platforms that I use to express.
Okay, and what does concrete connection mean?
Concrete Connection. So the name was inspired by, at first it was Rainbow Connection, which had to do with rainbow. I got that from Maya Angelou in a sense of a piece she had. And that sometimes has a misleading sound to it. So I added concrete. And when you think of concrete, it comes from one of my favorite artists, Tupac Shakur. And I think of the rose grown from concrete. So concrete as in solid, connection
Mhm.
as in finding that correlation in anything. And I think everything flows through that correlation or that connection.
Oh, I like that. I like it. That's solid. And it's true. When you think of concrete, you think of something just stable and ready to go, which is good. And you did, mention a little bit about all the different things that you do. But because we're in the sports world and you are in the gym, I take it you used to be an athlete, right?
I
And if
still
you did, what was the sports?
open sports, okay. So growing up, volleyball, basketball, swimming was a love of mine, but not like in terms of competing, but it was just something I enjoyed doing. Soccer. Um, there was a piece of me that loved hockey as well, but I never really shared that with people. But growing
Okay.
up in elementary years, hockey was something that I enjoyed doing, skating and stuff like that.
Wow. You're a multi athlete all around, multi skilled, which is great. And you say you still currently play as well too, which is great point. So it doesn't mean that if you play a certain level, it stops, especially on the female side of it. You can continue to play as long as you're active and everything. But now that you're playing a little bit, but you also had that coaching and training side of it. Talk to us about how you transition or how you added that to it, not just being an athlete, but also giving back.
It's funny because you find in your experience with playing, you're going through the experience as a player and you're picking up things in a sense of how to train. So I was also at the same time an intern, as in, so that's why I was able to flip the switch. And it's almost as if take notes from what I'm training now being the person on the other willing to educate.
Okay. I like that. And so, does that mean, on from an athlete perspective, when you had your coaches and trainers um, teaching you and giving you the skills, did they see something in you that realized that, you know what, even though you're the student, you can also turn around and also give it back to others? Or is that something that you realize that on your own?
That's a beautiful question, and the way you word that helped me connect with certain things. People in my life, and yes, some educators, they seen how I was able to connect with people, and that helped me transition in terms of training in that avenue. So yes, and I seen it a little in a sense where I love seeing people perform or hit a challenge, and they're able to find different ways to withstand or maneuver. So
Mm-hmm.
in some sense I seen it in myself as well.
Wow, I like that. So you saw it and then you found a way to give back and support. In the beginning, you mentioned a little bit about the mentoring side of it. Tell us a little bit more, like how do you go about doing this mentorship? Who are you mentoring? And if anybody's looking to get some support, how they can connect with you on that side.
Okay, so how I go about mentoring is in a sense where basketball is a stage that I use, or fitness, and regard whether it's a conversation or a sort of interaction, I find out things about individuals, and those things that I find out, I try to remind them of their strengths.
Hmm.
So it's really in that type of connection I have that opportunity, and how other ways that I have that opportunity is through other partnerships where people see certain things inside of me and they say, hey, I would like you to step in as not just as a basketball performance trainer, but seeing how you tackle mental health, wellness in that aspect. That's how they would go about making that sort of connection with me. And that is also inspired me in a sense where there's a program that I run called Dive, where it consists of dealing with the internal and the external. So the component where there's a discussion, you find out about the individual, and then there's the fitness component where they're moving, or maybe some sort of sport may be applied. Did
Wow. Oh
okay?
no, that answer is that's deep. I like that too. So it's not just coming in, dribble the ball. You actually take time to understand the individual from both a mental, emotional wellness, and you incorporate it to make sure that you see them as a whole, not
Yes,
just, coming in and doing physical activity. And that's
yes.
that's a special skill to have, and be able to have that ability to pause and look at that individual as they are, or help them realize their potential, as you said earlier. And that's kudos to you. So for anybody, that's watching or going to watch later or listen, if you're looking for a way to help you overcome whatever it is that you feel, I guess it's not strengthening enough, Coach Alana will be more than willing to listen, as you said earlier, listen, and then be able to work with them and help them realize that potential. And the fact that you are saying that, even with the whole mental aspect of it, it's great that, there is somebody on that side of it. You yourself being an athlete and also giving back on it, there's always these talks about you got to have mental toughness, you got to have this, you got to have that. Have you gone through any of those, or how was it for you when you were in your stages, and how did you overcome it? The only reason I'm asking is because it's easier said than done, and adults and big people always telling the kids, but when you're going through that stage in your own, it's kind of hard to sort of, I guess, grasp it. So, and you're young, so it's easier for them to connect with you on that side too. So, did you go through any? And if you did, how did you overcome any doubts or any support that's continuing to support you? Say, hey, I'm at this stage, I'm on for the next level, or have these people that I can talk to?
Oh, I
It's a
definitely
loaded
got.
question.
Oh no, and it's an important question. Yes, I've gone through that, and one of the biggest things for me was this idea of fear, and this idea of self worth, and this idea of expecting somebody on the outside, like a coach or certain females that I used to hoop with or certain people that I would be given the opportunity to play with. I wanted them to see something in me that I didn't see in myself. So I
Mm-hmm.
used that. And at the same time, I was chasing a destination, and I was getting caught up in, I gotta be this type of player, but yet handling the fear and also reshaping what I thought fear is or what I think it should be. And even on the flip side, where I'm still within the space of basketball, where I call it a stage, and it
Mm-hmm.
may the outside I'm just wearing a different hat. I still have that doubt that's still within the space telling me, hello, I want your attention. And I still continue to find ways to not I still continue to find ways to change my perception of it, whereas I don't look at it as something that's going to stop me from performing. And
Mm-hmm.
one key thing is being able to be comfortable saying, yeah, there were times where I'm afraid to step up, or there are times where I put this psychological pressure on myself, and be okay with that.
Yeah. Wow. I like that. And I like that you take the time to get to know yourself, which I appreciate because, kids are kids and adults are adults. And sometimes we forget that we were kids and sometimes you don't see us as being big. So having that strength within yourself and pausing, and now you're also giving it back and seeing others and helping them. That's definitely recommend. Like, what's it called? Recommendable. Or I forgot what the proper word is. I'm still learning English. But like kudos to you for that, for sure. On the training side though, because you have the skills, you've gone through all the Richards work. You understand what it takes to be a student athlete. You understand what it takes to work day in, day out, um, keeping schedules intact and everything. If a parent brings their child to you and say, Coach Alana, I need help with my kid. Can you train them out? What is the first thing that you sort of look at, or you start to understand before you can say, okay, let's go ahead and this is the path that we're going to go? Because anybody can come to you and say, I need help, but we don't know what that is, right? But we need, basically in the sports world, like they see what you're doing and I want them to get better. Help me. What do you say, or what do you do?
I think of it as there has to be some sort of assessment done, in a sense where you have a parent coming to you, and you may have a parent who's very vocal and they will tell you what they want for their child and what they want from you. And you keep that in mind. However, that interaction with the child, that's very important. So there has to be some sort of establishment in a sense of rapport. So
Mhm.
figure out how to build that rapport with them, but not push it on them, because you don't know what type of individual you're dealing with. So like I said, an assessment in a sense of what do they like? What does basketball mean to them? What do they want out of it? And maybe it may not even be just basketball. It could be fitness. It could be anything. So what are the things that they like? How do they see themselves? And sort of get a kind of guideline. And if basketball is the case that they want to come to me for, then I would see them in their element. So it's not so much, okay, I'm going to teach you this, teach you that, but how are you in this element? And then I continue to find pieces from there.
Oh my goodness. I like that. So it's not just come in, sign up. This is my schedule. Show up this day, dribble 20, shoot 10, boom, done. Like you actually take that assessment. I think that's well needed to do that. Now, say I go ahead and I proceed and I'm with you. What is the progression, or in terms of feedback, that you continue to do to make sure that based on the assessment, you're progressing and moving forward to what the goal may have been?
So the feedback. So it's funny because you said some things in a sense. So it's not just they're coming in and they're do that. You give them a certain drill. So that's the thing that's so tricky in life. You will give somebody. I will give somebody a drill. Say it's a dribbling drill. Say if it's a shooting drill. they would think that I'm focused on their makes or how they create and how the move looks. But I'm also thinking about how is their body? How are they using their
Mm.
body? Do they understand when you're doing a front crossover, you got to sit, so therefore you're squatting? Do they understand that when you're trying to advance forward, there's some lunging involved? So feedback in a sense where, do you understand how important it is your body is? And also I check in with them, so how are you feeling right now? And I also read them in a sense where if I notice that they're measuring their worth, whether it's a made or a miss, I tap into that highly, because once again it comes back to how do you see yourself. So do you
Yeah.
only say, oh yo, good job, or are you only high when you're scoring, and then when you miss, are you low? And or do you just look at mistakes as a downfall? So I try to see how they see mistakes, I try to see how they see highs and lows, and then I try to remind them mistakes are a tool.
Oh, mistakes are a tool. I like that. I'm writing this down so I don't forget. I like it because we and I think part of it is also from parent side as well too. We often start to look at what was wrong as opposed to what was right at times. So now as you're talking, I'm thinking this is something to be aware of. Don't look at just the negative side first. Start off with the positive. And then, like I said, even if they're just dribbling, you're looking at how they're looking up, what their mindset is, what's going on. And I think that's amazing. I'm gonna have to try to remember that for myself too. So I don't prejudge anything. I just say, okay, do your thing and look at it from a different perspective. Now, for the kids, so this is parents comes into you. They have their own way of what they want. This is what I want for my kid. How do you start that conversation with that athlete and saying, okay, this is why your mom brought me here. Your mom brought you here, and we're gonna work together. How do you break that conversation with them so that you have that um, connection to start that path of training and educating and mentoring?
You know, a lot of times I try to start a conversation where it's something like, give me something you embrace. And sometimes people find that confusing when I say embrace. So I say, give me a highlight, something that you're grateful for. So
Mm-hmm.
start off by touching on those things, and it's like, okay, what's up? Tell me something that you would like to do today. What brought you here? How you feeling? So I want you to know, let me know your temperature. And the key thing is to find out their temperature where they're at, because that will kind of give you a guideline in terms of where can you go within this experience. And then I'll be like, okay, what do we want to work on? Or I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to propose an idea. Let's do layups. Let's do defense, you know, and see how they respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I notice something is alarming on their body language, I will stop, because there's no point in me keep going and I'm pushing them and they already internally shut down. So I'll be like, okay, so for example, that happened literally today. And I went up to the individual and I said, what's going on? And they told me what was going on. And the key thing was, are you focused on something outside? And if you are, can you control that? And
Mm-hmm.
depending on the level, you have to find different language to express that, because everybody responds to things differently. So I hope I answered your question and I didn't go on no.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Definitely, you have. Yes. So it's strict. That means, for the athletes that are going to watch later, you're contacting Coach Alana. She's not going to just say, anything and have you just go. She knows you have the skills as a reason for coming to her, but she's going to look at you holistically as an individual, as a person, as a way to make that connection, so that whatever the goal of the plan or the path is, you guys work together to make that holistic. And I appreciate that you take that time to know them, and not just your physical ability, but in the mentally, emotionally, their well-being all across. Because at the end of the day, like I always say, we're raising human beings. We're not just raising athletes, right? We're all supporting humans, and there's more facets to us than just what their athletic abilities are, which makes it so much better when there's somebody like yourself who takes that seriously and make it more worthwhile for both the parents and the athletes. Another point I want to find out from you is you always talk about inner versus outer reflections and the mindsets a little bit about it. What are some of the things, or where do you get your inspiration from in reflecting that inner or the outer self for yourself?
You know, I always look at myself as the guinea pig because one of my biggest things was it wasn't whether I had the skill, it was what was going on inside of me. So I had people who believed in me and
Hold on, I think I went
inside. And I also understood that the reason why I wasn't able to perform the way I wanted to perform is because the perception that I seen of myself. So the inner stands for what's going on inside of you. How do you see yourself? How do you perceive things? And another component to that is how do you perceive the person in front of you? So if
Ooh.
you perceive the person in front of you in an unhealthy way, that is going to impact how you deal with that person. So then all that is projected to the outside, and that you end up painting this outside image. And that's why I say it's often we'll chase things.
Yeah, you were
Can you,
muted for a bit, but you're good.
oh, sorry about that. Okay. So okay, thank you. Often we'll chase things that only gives us outside gratification when we're not good inside.
Oh, that is deep. I like that. And you seem to be a reader, as you mentioned. Tupac before. You mentioned Maya Angelou before. Um, where else, or which other authors do you get your inspiration from, or you read to sort of keep you going in this mindset? Because I love hearing others look beyond just the sports aspect of it, that you encompass the whole being, and you read, you listen, you watch, and everything like that. But from a as a reader perspective, what are some of the books or authors that you're sort of drawn to that helps you continue just being your authentic self?
Some of the things that I'm drawn to are you have a light like Eckhart Tolle, and Eckhart Tolle is a powerful author in a sense where he reminds you to be present.
Mhm.
Napoleon Hill, where you understand the concept of the book is think and grow rich.
Rich. Yes.
Thinking. 50 Cent's book, that's another powerful book to me because you have somebody that came from a specific environment, but they're showing you people in this environment are intelligent as well. You have people that I know who written.
You're muted again. I think you're probably getting a call coming in through. No, now we can hear you.
Can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have people that I know that are writers. So, for example, my brothers are writers as well. Poetry, they've written poetry books. So I would say growing up, seeing my brother writing his poetry and now turning it to books, that
Mm.
also helped me as well. My brother.
Wow. And I wanted to just intercept here and give a couple of comments that has been mentioned for you, saying that, you're an amazing coach. Your points that you were making on about the inner versus outer was a good point. Also that you are a sick baller, sick. We mean, so that's coming from Hip Hop Hoops, giving you kudos for that. So yes, there are people, and yes, you are a writer yourself too, from Coach Mom. So this is great points, because obviously people appreciate all the things that you're doing. And yes, don't forget yourself. You're a writer. Yes. Oh, so yeah. What are some of your writings that you've, because that's two comments I've seen so far about your writing. What are some of the stuff that you've been writing about, and where can we get more of, and you're gonna turn into a book? possibly?
Um, to all those people that really wrote those things, thank you. I appreciate that because it's funny that you say, "Are you going to turn it into a book?" I actually did publish a book a few years ago. It's called Tears Before the Rain.
Okay.
Um, if you connect with me, there's places that I can send you the information where you can get that book at. And I am working on book two. So you can find my work. So if you notice on Create Concrete Connection, you'll notice there's some footage of whoever I'm training or some type of footage, and you'll notice me reciting a piece in the background. So there is another place you can find my work. Usually all the pieces that are written is from me.
Oh wow, seriously, because I was like, this is beautiful. I'm like, I love these captions. And okay, I'm gonna recode it and give you all the credits for these because these are beautiful and it's well deep thought of, and every one of it makes you definitely pause and think and not just move forward. Like you reflect on it. And I would say your writing is awesome. These you're the author for that. Good job for that. Honestly, so for any of the athletes, listen, honestly, it's not just about being the only one on the court. You have multiple talents, and Coach Alana is one example of it. You know, she's here helping you mentally, not just physically, but emotionally, as well as she also provide her thoughts out in book and continue to be in the sports world. So there's multiple avenues that you can still be an athlete and utilize all the skills that you have. And another comment coming in saying that you're a deep thinker on another level. You're an amazing human. So yes, kudos to you. Honestly, you're like, I love having you here. You seem so humble and I love it. Like it's great. And I'm like all excited. Oh my gosh, she's awesome. So thank you so much for continuing to share all of your light that you do and on the deep thinking level, because I think it's important, like I said, that students, athletes coming to any coach have a way to connect with them, not just on the physical and how to do the skills, but they see you as a whole. And you seem to be one of the people that continue to do that on a concrete level, which now I get what you mean by the concrete and connection. So you're making that solid connections with the individuals as well as yourself. So it's a continuous growth. Okay, good. And if anybody has any other comments, please put it through. We've only got about 15 minutes left, but definitely give her all her flowers while she's here. Let her appreciate it. Let her know how much you guys appreciate her and everything. Um, Overall, your career within the sports world, what has been some of your most challenging and also some memorable enjoyment experiences that you've had?
So, in terms of my career, I kind of gave you an idea in terms of when I was playing. One of the most challenging things was me understanding my worth and me believing in my abilities. So, in a sense, now as the educator, trainer, it still gets challenging because, and my friend was reminding me about this recently, you still doubt yourself, especially because you do it differently. Where some people may focus on just the physical component or whatever avenue, and you don't do it the way they do it. So people may not like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the music, the voice in my head sometimes will be like, okay, Alana, you're not training like that person. You're not doing it like that person. Or you don't look like that person. Or that person doesn't want you to train them. Or sometimes you measure. So my challenge is understanding the process, continuing to stay in that space where I apply the faith and the action in terms of my ability in that aspect. So I continue to work on that. And also knowing, for example, as an educator, there's a powerful shooter that I use as guidance, and knowing that I'm still working through things. So when I'm in a position and I'm given the opportunity to share some of his wisdom, not thinking, oh my goodness, they're looking at me and I have to get it right. Whereas I have that humbling moment and I can say to the individual, or I don't have to, and I understand that they're not looking for anything for you. You have the understanding of it. So
Mm-hmm.
whether you hit the shots or whether you look a certain way, if you can understand and explain that in a sense where they can understand or try to, that's good enough. Memorable moments, I have plenty of those, but I'll think of one where I remember when I was in Spain and I went there to play. However, I wasn't able to play on a team, but I was practicing with the team, and I was standing in the village and I was overlooking the city. And in that moment, I said to myself, to some people, this may look like I didn't make it, but to me, I was in a whole different country and it was so peaceful. And in that moment, I felt rich. And in that moment,
Nice.
to detach from this idea, oh, you got to get here.
Wow, that's powerful. And that's a good perspective because this small orange ball, whether it be a soccer ball or hot football or baseball, whatever sports or athletic gift that God has given you, just utilizing that. And I've heard so many people say that has opened so many doors for them. And yours was giving you that open, like somebody says, priceless moments. That's beautiful. I wouldn't be like defeated. I'm not on the team. I'm just practicing, blah, blah, blah. But this is where, your authentic and your light comes in there. And with your concrete connection coming in there, you just took that moment and you definitely saw the benefits and the good in it, the inner and the outer gift that came out of that. So, wow, Spain. Yeah, some of us haven't even gone there yet. And we wish we could, but that's beautiful. I love that. And thank you, Coach Ray from Unity Academy, saying two legends in one video. Well, thank you. And priceless moments, definitely another comment coming for you. And then just in terms of rounding up for on this chat, because I know you have to go again, and I'm very mindful of everybody's time as well. What has been, some of the things that you can tell as parents with all that you've gone through, some things that you can tell as parents when we're bringing our kids to you, or whether they're in sports or something else, to from your experience, whether it be personal or even dealing with your own clients, that you can say, hey parents, these are my 2 or 3 things that just to be aware of in general, or you can even be specific, because I'm always thinking from a parent's perspective and we're always growing. So anything that you can share to help encourage us or be aware of while we're all in this realm of journey together.
Um, okay. So I think about what I may get often in a sense of what a parent may tell me what their child needs or what their child does. And I guess in a way, you're delivering that note, but also understanding that, hey, I'm just saying this to you, but I don't want it to overshadow anything. Or
Hmm.
sometimes you can come in and sometimes you may not even have to say anything. Or if your child has certain ways they learn, maybe you can let me know, because that's a big misconception, or it turns into a dilemma when you're training an individual and you're, for instance, you're like, why are you not listening to me? But you don't understand, maybe there's a language barrier. And when I say language, I'm not talking about English and another
Mm-hmm.
language. I'm language as in body language, the words, how I say the words, how I speak. So little things like that. And I think another key thing, if they are part of, if they're watching, just watch with no expectations.
Thank you.
Watch with no expectations. But, and I know this may seem a little bit unorthodox, when you're in that moment, just try to be peaceful, be free. Because I also think about parents in a sense of what they do and they're always on. So in that moment, and you have somewhere to be like, okay, yeah, I'm free. I ain't even paying attention. You have some who have a hard time to just, so
Yeah.
just relax. And
I
know, and also know your child is getting something out of this, but it's important that you get something out of this in a sense where you understand what's going on. Because when your child leaves that educator, they may come to you for something. And even though it may seem like that's not your job, But there's something about being able to understand something even if you're not doing it directly, and especially as a parent or a caregiver, and you can have those conversations, or you can have a better understanding, a better interaction with your child.
Oh man, these are good points. So yeah, so for parents, definitely the key thing I got from this is just be free and share their learning language. And you're not talking about ABCD, en français or whatever national language that you speak. Body language, emotional language, mental language, everything that's going on. Let the coach know how your child learns or understand things so they can be better, be prepared to communicate with them on that sense. Some kids like to be yelled at, and some don't like to be yelled at. Some like to be shown once, some you have to show 5,000 times, right? So if you know your child best, communicate that to your coach. Communicate, let them know so you both can be. I always say we're all on this journey together. It can't be just one way. So it can't be this is it, dump them and you get it and fix it. It's got to be let's work together. And I love that part of it, like understand that language and just be free. It's hard, honestly, from a parent's perspective, but we'll work on that. Maybe that's a 2022 end of year, 2023 beginning, goals as they call it. But there is another comment here for you that says, I'm so proud of you, Toronto. Keep making a positive impact on young people's lives. And keep going from Coach Dash. And parents should find time to reflect on the child season as well. I agree. And the reflection is not just about watching the videos that we
Yes.
recorded. Reflection about how far, where they started to where they are. And I always say treat it like school. Do midway check, do review, not in the condemning way, but just be open based on all the things that, Alana has said. If you're mindful of them as a human, we're growing together and it shouldn't be, dictator, let's say, but you said you pause and you understand them and be free. I really like that. Yes, same here. Love seeing women leading in sports and business. Thank you. Like honestly, these the reason why I wanted to bring you here because you have this authentic aura of you, and it's not just about push, push, push. You actually pause to understand individuals, and you have this gift of understanding people and listening. And I want parents who may have kids on a different learning skill level. Maybe on the team, they're the most quiet ones. Maybe, you may see it differently, that there are coaches out there like this that will take that time to understand your child and help them, just not on the physical aspect of it, but also everything encompasses. So when they're in that team environment, they can still be themselves and not feel any way. And still, it's okay. Like you said, it's okay to be free. And be simple and be okay with that. So I love that. And all the, as we can see, like all the different comments are coming for you. It's beautiful. So yeah, and I will recap all of these points for everybody that may have missed it because these are great. I look forward to your second book that you're saying you're putting together. So do definitely let us know when it's going to be. And your current book, which is Tears Before the Rain, I will get that information and share as well so that people can still read it and connect and get to know, who you are with the ball, without the ball, before the ball, after the ball, that you are still a human being and they can still connect with you with all that light. And to round it off, and as if everything I haven't asked too much questions or probably haven't talked too much about it. Um, at least I asked a little bit earlier in the beginning, but who has been your inspiration or who inspires you?
It's not just one person. Many people that I would classify like family. And I say that because, like I said, one of the biggest things for me was being able to believe in myself. So the people around me who believed in me more than I believed in myself
Mm-hmm.
definitely hold high on inspiration, and especially in a sense where how they carry themselves and their strengths, and whether it's fitness, whether it's business, whether it's parenting, whether it's being able to know how to hold a conversation, all these things tie in and it helps you develop people skills. um, Communities, um, the color of my skin, being a woman or not, or somebody else who's not a woman outside, strangers. It's kind of like, I guess the one way I can put it is in a sense where if I see something in terms of art, so for instance, your your flyer and your billboard in the back, I could be using the wrong word, and I
Okay.
look at father's mom, so something within sight that just may pop out, and it could be a stranger, it could be family, but of course, family, of course, and people who people who feel like they don't have it and they don't understand their worth.
Ah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, and you're getting a hi there too from Giovanna. Hi, Giovanna. Yes. Okay, so you're inspired by people, you're inspired by so many different things. You're a very intuitive person, and I appreciate that the light that carries you is so great. It surrounds you. And I think everybody who's looking for somebody to be enlightened definitely should associate themselves with you, because based on everything we talked about and all the few times I've gotten to talk to you and know you, it's a light. It's very lightening to see that it's not just the hardcore sport. Like there's human beings who have that gift to understand people. And lastly, for you, what has been the last, like the last thing that you did for yourself, that you've done just for you? Because you've talked so much about all the different things that you continue to see, you support, you understand, you guide, you listen. But for you, what have you done for yourself?
Honestly, it's something simple. Well, it seems I say it's simple. Just rest. My mind continues to go a lot, and there are times like, for the past few days, I was going through something, and I just paused and just rest.
Like that. I need to do that. So I think I may have to do that too. Oh, yes, it's true. It's always the hardest question because we're so used to go, 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 go. Rest. I like that. And yeah, so I will leave it there and I will let everybody get a good rest as well too. Um, thank you to yes, I need rest too. Yes, yes. Desiree, all of us, we all need that because at times we feel like we don't have enough time in the world, but there's so much to do. But resting is so important, whether it be mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever it is. I'm taking that as my feedback to be free, rest, and use proper language when communicating about my child to the coach so that they can communicate to them that they understand to be able to execute whatever the plan is. These are great feedback that I personally have been taking. Hopefully, everybody that watches or listens also gets something out of it. And last, where can we find you, even if you're not on IG or any other social media? Put them all, say them all. I will tag it, and people can get more information and be able to connect with you beyond even this chat.
Okay, so like you said on the platform, Create Concrete Connection. That's a place where you can find me. Uh, if you reach out to me there, email, that's another way to communicate with me. A place that I usually work out of is Ballers Union Training Center. That's one place that I'm always working out of. So that's another connection partnership. Another place that I work out of is Lab Rats. That's where I am right now.
Okay.
Excuse me, Lab.
D
That's
Lab,
another
D
place where
Lab. Yes.
Lab, not I think that's like the hashtag or something. D Lab, that's where I'm at right now. So those are two places you can find me. And yeah, if it through Instagram, Create Concrete Connection. If it's not Instagram, do I give my email? Is
Yep.
that where you're at? Okay.
Yep. You can give the email out as well. Yeah. And I'll put it in the description also.
Okay. So for email, a laws
Yep.
dot connect
Yep.
at gmail.com.
Awesome. So 8laws.connect@gmail.com. If you prefer email format of communication, she's also available right here on IG, which is where we are live right now to connect with her. So send her a DM message. She'll get back to you. And if you want to see her physically, she is either at D Lab facility, whereas it's in Mississauga, I believe, right? Mississauga, Ontario, or Bowlers Union in Toronto/North York, Toronto. So she's readily available to connect and, help you and your child and your athletes continue to just be their authentic self and grow. So I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Kudos, and all the flowers that you got, take them in, take them in, take them in. It's all for you. Great work on that. And thank you so much for giving me your time here. I know you're busy and everything, and I appreciate it. It took a while for us to get here, but we did. And on forward, we continue to go. Last word, and I shut up.
Okay, so Gifty, while you're giving me all the flowers, I want to say something to you, and it's just one thing, all right? So I just want one word to describe today for you. So give me one word that describes today or even this moment. One word.
One word that describe, I call it journey.
Beautiful. And I want to say thank you for reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity to express like this, be uncomfortable, because there are times where you're asking questions, you're wondering what people are thinking, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I just wanted to say cheers to you and everybody who just took out a moment to listen, and may you find something small to fill that cup called gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll leave it like that. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Have a beautiful evening.